Hello everyone and welcome back to the Stamp Box. Today I'm going to go over a very interesting postcard that I came across recently in a bundle. At first glance it seems to be a fairly mundane postcard. It's actually got a lot of philatelic interest in it, but what's really intriguing is that it was dated in December 1922. This is an Irish postcard posted in the southwest of Ireland in a town called Buttevant. 1922 was right in the middle of the Irish Civil War, and there's some historical connections to the dates on this and the previous year or two. This card actually mimics some of those changes, and I'll go through those with you now. To put this in context and to clarify for people who aren't familiar with Irish history, Ireland at the time had been subject to hundreds of years of British influence and British occupation, as it was called. There had been a lot of agitation over the centuries, various rebellions. The most recent of those had happened in 1916, only a few years before this card. The 1916 rebellion was unsuccessful, but it was followed a few years later, in 1919, by the start of the Irish War of Independence. After 2 years of fighting, most of it guerrilla warfare, there were calls by the British government for a truce, and treaty negotiations started in London. The outcome of those negotiations was to divide Ireland so that 6 of the northern counties in Ulster would become what is now today called Northern Ireland, and the rest was becoming a free state. As well as that division, there were other contentious issues, including an oath to the British Crown, which many people found totally unacceptable. Sadly, this rejection of the treaty by large portions of the population led to a civil war. The Free State forces quickly set up a provisional government, but the anti-treaty IRA members went back to fighting against this. Unfortunately, of course, in any civil war, they're fighting against their own people. Getting onto this card and how it fits into this timeline, this card was sent locally within Buttevant. It seems to have been only sent a couple of kilometres, not terribly far, and it appears to be from maybe a farm manager saying to a local contractor that the pump wasn't working. So clearly looking for work to be done on the pump. And this is where it seems to overlap a couple of times with the history that was constantly changing then. The original stamp was a British George V side face, 1 penny. It seems to have had insufficient postage because it's got another hand-stamped 1 penny mark on it, presumably to collect on arrival. The actual date on this is the 8th of December 1922. That's about 1 year after the treaty. So at that stage, the Free State had already been set up. So what we have here is a British stamp that was overprinted for the provisional government, used in the time frame of the Free State. Those provisional government overprints were actually outdated at this time. The Free State ones had started some months before, I believe it was. So clearly there's a bit of an overlap. Both the Free State and the provisional government overprints were written in the Irish language, and I'll put it on the screen there for you to see. Ireland was using a Gaelic script and continued to do so for about another 20 years. What is interesting, and I've noticed this before on cancellations around this time, the cancellation itself is written in English, in a typical English script. It's showing Buttevant, County Cork. While they were very quick to change the script and the language on the stamps, it seems that that time they were taking a lot longer to actually change the cancellations. Buttevant, of course, being the English name of the region, it has its own Irish name, although it's not a translation of Buttevant. I didn't know until I actually looked this up. I always thought Buttevant was named after a family name, but apparently it's an anglicisation of a French motto. Another little bit of trivia that you pick up as you go along. Just getting back to the Civil War again and putting this in historical context, one of the bitter aspects of the Civil War was that any Republicans caught carrying arms against the national government were typically executed without a court-martial or trial. Historians believe there was possibly 80 executions in the 2 years of the Civil War. Tying that in with this card, on the 8th of December 1922, 4 Republican prisoners had been executed, again without a decent trial. It's a kind of funny mix of two worlds, mainstream politics and the war that was going on at the time, and routine life down on the farm. I often do look up dates that are stamped onto covers and postcards, and it's interesting to match up the card or the cover with what was happening at the time. I've got a few others that I'll do as well, a similar thing, but yeah, just I picked this out of the box and I thought, oh, that's interesting, and found out it was a lot more interesting and intriguing than I expected it. So happy to share that with you. So thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, and leave a comment. Always happy to hear from you, and I'll keep working on the next series and make sure you catch up with me later. All the best now. Happy collecting.